Just a quick note about how I'm going to be playing this game and how that relates to what you guys are going to be seeing. Is I'm playing this in the turn-based mode. So the way this works is all the action is real time. Oh, it's not a kind of crazy I go and then while the computer politely waits for me to get my turn over, because that won't be very realistic. The way it works is that at the start of each minute the game is paused and I can give orders out to all the different units and generally move the camera around wherever I like. So you can see here in the bottom right little tab I've got a list of orders that I can give to these guys. So I can tell them, and you know, they all have different effects. And what's going to happen then is during this part I can give the orders out, but then when I press the play button down here it works out what's going to happen, and then the units try to carry out the orders in that minute. If I click on them now that we're actually in it, I can't give them any more instructions, so I have to live with the decisions that I make, whether they be good or bad. To mitigate the kind of potential stupid stuff, the AI has its own, or each unit has its own little tactical AI, which will make decisions based on what's going on. So they'll try to carry out my orders, for example, but if enemy artillery starts falling on top of them, they're probably going to run away. Or if they see enemies, they're going to engage them automatically without me having to order them. You know, this kind of thing. They can make basic decisions, which makes my life a lot easier. And as we can see, we reached the end of the turn here. It's popped up with done, and obviously of added benefit to me when it gets very complicated, or when I'm recording it, is I can now rewind it, play it again, fast forward, find different bits. Obviously when it gets complicated, that means I can jump between different parts of the battlefield and different units and see what happens from each perspective. Obviously if it's real time and I have 100 odd units to look after, that's going to be very complicated. And the real time I can't micromanage effectively enough, but with this I can. So well, what you guys are going to be seeing when we actually get stuck in is the just the action part. I'm not going to show me giving any orders or anything, because that would triple or more the length of the video, and it's not very interesting. When I do pause it or replay it, I'll let you know, and there'll be a little icon in the bottom left, that kind of thing. And now that's that get out of the way, we can finally get on with it. Off we go then. Everybody's starting to move up. On the left, the BMPs of 3 platoon are rushing up to the edge of the tree line so they can cross that open space as fast as possible. Generally I'm getting the infantry here to move into the woods first before the BMPs, so that they can find some good firing positions and make sure it's free of any enemy infantry. The mortar carriers are firing their barrage on some of the known targets up in these woods here. Third platoon is dismounting its infantry, and they're getting a little bit of incoming mortar fire there. That's probably pre-planned artillery, seeing as though I'm pretty sure that they can't get eyes on me here yet. On the right, the sniper team has spotted an enemy BMP-2 sat up on top of the hill, and ordered up one of the BMP-3s to try and get into position. That's a nice little kind of keyhole shot through the trees there.
Внимание! Машина противника!
Spotted it. Getting the elevation. And you see the sniper team have probably just shouted up to them. There's a BMP over there, take it out, guys. A little bit of BDA. That looks very much like a dead BMP there. That's a lot of penetrations all over it. Over on the left, I'm just reversing 3 platoon out of that enemy fire mission, just in case they get too close and start taking casualties. Not too worried about it, like I say, because it's very likely to be unobserved fire. But that doesn't mean we should just waltz into it. Oh, we're getting a lot of information sharing going on at the moment. The UAV's up over the woods, so we can start spotting some targets there. The infantry in the woods on the right are seeing some stuff as well, and they're passing things back to the BMPs, who are starting to open up when they can spot enemy targets. The 2 Tigers are still trying to move up on the left, around the artillery fire. Big risky move going across that open ground like that, but speed saves lives. And the Ukrainians are definitely awake now. That was some 30mm cannon fire coming overhead. A quick check on that Tiger in there. You can see that they're rattled now, the state down here, and this triangle indicates how suppressed they are. Obviously they've just had a dose of 30mm cannon land right next to them, so they're getting worried, and the AI has decided that it needs to get further into these woods. The Tiger team have ordered to dismount to push up a little bit more stealthily and set up an OP somewhere in the woods. But if I click on them there, you can see that they've gone further down to shaken and they're pinned. They're not in command contact with anybody. And I've briefly lost control of them. See, that guy was hiding in the dirt, and they decided to leg it further into the woods to get away from that fire, which is fair enough, I suppose. No one's ever shot at me with a 30mm cannon, but I can't imagine it'd be an awful lot of fun. It's time to push up, check or clear this little village in front of us. The scout teams are running across from the woods as fast as they can with some covering fire. Those big explosions are 100mm rounds from the 2 BMPs on the right flank. As you can see, they're making a mess of the buildings. There's also some PK machine guns going off, putting down some firemen. And the guys managed to get across the street fairly safely. Nobody's shot at them, so if there's anybody there, the suppression has done its job, but of course there might not be. It's all been going pretty well up to this point. 0 casualties. We've been putting the hurt on the Ukrainians. We've stalled a little bit on the far left because of that artillery fire, but that's going to be called off soon, probably. We'll carry on putting some fire down on the Ukrainians up the hill. It's all well and good thinking everything's going well. But that's a BMP getting hit by something, and that was the gunner hopping out of the hatch. So he's gotten away, but his buddy is still inside there somewhere. He's not getting out. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, that is a big explosion. Everyone in that BMP is dead. I have no idea what happened then. That's a chock-off crater. The beauty of the turn-based mode that I'm playing in here is that when I'm re-watching these little 1-minute videos, I can pause it, go back and see what happened, and you can see on the pause there what's coming into BMP number 1 is an anti-tank missile of some description. And it's managed to just hit, by the looks of it, hit above the era blocks right there and nail the driver. Just like that. So something similar happened with the other one. It was the same kind of missile by the looks of it. Was bound to take casualties at some point, so you know, it's bad that it was 2 BMPs, simply because they're a major component of my fighting power. I've only got 8 left now. On the plus side, I dismounted the infantry, so the infantry's okay. They're a bit nervous now, obviously, because they just saw 2 of their armoured vehicles get whacked. But it's war, we expect casualties. That's just the way it is. Sudden death is the nature of modern warfare. We're 38 minutes to go at this point, 7 minutes in. We're going to have a quick evaluation of what's going on, just while it's paused. We lost these 2 BMPs here just now to some anti-tank missiles, which are up here somewhere, probably. I don't know enough about anti-tank missiles to tell you whether that was launched from the BMPs, because they have 85 missiles on the top, or if that was a man-packed anti-tank missile team up here somewhere. It's entirely possible. We've got a contact report there, but we haven't worked out what it is yet. Is this going to change the plan? Because if I'm going to carry on trying to push down the right flank, I'm going to be running straight into them. So does it change the plan? Don't know. Because like before, we know this certainly this stretch of open ground here is covered by at least 1 BMP because of that 30mm fire on the Tiger. And then once we get up there, there's a lot of open space to cover before that still stands. And then once we cross this bit, this danger area, if there's enemy ATGMs up on the hill, we're in defilade down there. I think the big thing to do would be to press on. The infantry from the centre platoon is okay. They're a little bit shaken because they just saw their buddies get incinerated, and they can push in, clear the village out. And when it comes down to the push, hopefully they're not going to be very mobile now, obviously, because they're down 2 of their 3 BMPs, but they can stay in the village perhaps and put some fire down, or move up and clear out these woods. On the left-hand platoon, we're still getting that arty fire coming in over here. You see, they've got a little bit of a reaction from the still mounted Tiger there. That's those shells coming in there. Is it worth trying to carry on pushing up here? It's probably been artilleried for a reason. That'd be blocking artillery, at least in theory. So it's probably still worth pushing up so we can get that fire support on the woods there. It could be worth retasking the UAV to check out those woods up there, up at the top of the hill. See if we can't nail down those anti-tank teams. Assuming that they're coming from there, of course. They could be coming from anywhere in that top corner, really. And by about, I think with 30 minutes to go, I want to keep up until then I want to keep the pressure up, and with 30 minutes to go, I'm going to start calling in the mortars over here to keep the enemy suppressed, maybe put some smoke down and rush up probably or possibly the right hand platoon here. No, the right hand platoon is going to stay up in these woods and do the fire support job along with the centre platoon, and I think we're going to not worry too much about the left and just risk that enfilade fire, or push the Tigers up and then shuffle the left hand platoon across over here to rush up here, get across that field and across into the defilade there where they should be safe, fingers crossed. Like I said at the start, it's going to be tough. We just show that the Ukrainians can inflict some serious pain if they get the opportunity. So we'll see what happens. It could develop further in those intervening 8 minutes, and we might have to react again, but we'll see. Second Tiger's moving up, having some difficulties, and then it comes under fire, so looks like there really is some infantry down in those woods there. The gunner's just got some brain surgery, he's a casualty. And obviously his buddy in the driver's seat is going to panic a bit now and readjust. So that's bad news. Oh, we're pushing up into the village now, there's already some teams. PK's putting some suppressive fire down. But this scout team running up is taking some incoming in the woods. And we got some Ukrainians in there who are putting the fire down on us. Hopefully the PK is going to help suppress them. Some more in there, which the squad up in this building have spotted, and they're going to play let's all hang around the same window. Just while they put the fire down. Firefight in the village is developing. I'm trying to put as much fire down on those positions in the woods there as possible. The remaining BMP is popping up, but it looks like we've got another infantry contact in that barn there. And there's some enemy BMPs on the ridge who are joining in with 30mm cannon fire. We just lost the team leader for that squad there, or the squad leader. These buildings are not even remotely 30mm cannon proof. Another casualty in that squad in that building. Things aren't looking fantastic now that we're actually making proper contact with the enemy. Things are carrying on around the village. I'm starting to have a little bit of a rethink. I'm starting to wonder if instead of pushing up the right flank, where I know we've got another BMP there and some good gaps through the trees that put fire on down there as well as to the south, if I can hold the enemy's attention over here in the village, maybe I can push up in the middle. And I know before I was talking about not liking the very middle very much, but I've had eyes on this side of the hill for quite a while now and can't see any indications of anything. There's this position here that I'd have to suppress, and this one obviously, but get across here, push across the railway bridge maybe, hammer this tree line with infantry, with mortar fire rather, and then push up from this side. The trees are actually going to keep me concealed from all the enemies up here until I can get the infantry up close. So that's an option. Might have a go at developing that, we'll see how it goes. The left hand platoon now is all ready to move up. The Tigers have lost both their gunners now. The far left Tiger popped up to try and put some grenade launcher rounds into that position. Managed it, but the gunner got his head shot off. This barn's been annoying me because it's getting in the way of this BMP's fill of fire. down it goes. Screw the Geneva Convention. And meanwhile, this sniper team on the right flank has been noticed by this infantry in the woods, and there's more infantry up here, which is firing on it. Hopefully this BMP here should be able to deal with them in a minute. I'm really starting to put the fire out now. The barn's down, so there's 100mm Airbus rounds going off into the woods behind the village. More up into that infantry up on the ridge. Just up there next to the BMP. There's also the infantry adding their fire in. I think a couple of RPGs go off at some point. BMPs of the left-hand platoon and the commander's BMP, he's not in it, they're moving up to the road where they're going to form up. Foot going up the middle, we're going to go up the right. So at least we know what's going on there. We've also got a wider area to push across instead of going through a big choke point. We've got the mortars that we're going to start bringing in the next turn, I think, or ordering the fire mission. Really putting the fire down as much as possible, just as preparation for the assault, and we'll see what happens. Hammering continues, including some rounds going up the hill, right to the top where I thought those anti-tank teams were. Another enemy BMP just got hit. This stubborn one over here keeps putting fire down into the village. I'm wondering whether I'm going to need more stuff making the rush, purely on the basis that more targets means more of them get through. But we'll see. There's a smoke fire mission coming in, or on the way. We'll see how good a chance that gives us. Another enemy BMP gets hit. Backs again, so there's some holes right through it, and that brews up. Just hopefully upset some of the Ukrainians hanging around in the woods. The general pounding continues while the assault group is sorting itself out. We are going to have to hurry up with this. It's presumably an enemy spotting round coming in. God knows what he's aiming at, but probably these woods here.